The African sun was unforgiving that afternoon. It cast golden heat waves on the crowded streets of the city, where cars inched forward through chaotic traffic, horns blaring, and street vendors shouting over one another. Life pulsed in every corner, the smell of grilled plantains, the distant beat of drums, the dust rising with every step. Amid this chaos, a small boy weaved between stopped cars at a red light. His name was Kofi, a 10-year-old with bare feet hardened by years of walking on hot tar and gravel. His skin was a warm, dark chocolate tone, his hair tightly coiled and uncombed, with tiny beads of sweat rolling down his forehead. He wore oversized khaki shorts and a ripped red t-shirt 2 sizes too big, once bright but now faded and stained with grease and dust. In his left hand, he clutched a dirty rag, in his right, a small bottle of soapy water. With a swift motion, he began scrubbing the windshield of an aging taxi without being asked. The driver, annoyed but used to it, tossed him a coin before the light turned green. Kofi caught it midair like he'd done it 1,000 times. This was his life, bouncing between lanes at every red light, offering windshield cleaning in exchange for a few coins or, more often, being shooed away with harsh words. But even as he worked, there was a fire in Kofi's eyes. A hunger. Not just for food, but for a life beyond these streets. His little hands moved fast, scrubbing and wiping as he moved toward the next car. Sometimes, he would glance up at the giant billboards towering above the city. One in particular caught his eye every time, a bright image of a red Formula One car racing across a desert track, dust flying, engine roaring. Kofi didn't know how fast it went or where it raced, he only knew one thing: it looked like freedom. He would pause for a second each day to look at it, just enough to let the dream bloom in his mind before another honk reminded him to move. People walked past him every day, men in suits, women balancing baskets on their heads, tourists in sunglasses, and none of them ever stopped to ask his name. He was just another street kid. Invisible. Disposable. Forgotten. But not today. Today, something strange happened. A black luxury SUV slowly rolled to a stop at the intersection. The windows were tinted, the car spotless, shining like a mirror. Kofi, like always, ran up to it quickly, bottle and rag ready. But just as he reached for the windshield, the window rolled down. Inside sat a man. Calm, composed. His skin was a deep caramel shade, and he wore a white shirt with the collar open, no tie. He had short, neatly trimmed hair with specks of gray and intelligent, gentle eyes that seemed to study the boy with curiosity. Kofi froze. He wasn't used to people looking at him, only through him. Then, the man smiled and opened the door. Kofi stood frozen beside the open SUV door, unsure whether to run or stay. His heart pounded in his small chest. No adult had ever spoken to him like this, let alone smiled. He had met hundreds of drivers, angry, tired, indifferent, but this man was different. His voice was calm, his presence gentle yet commanding. "Do you like cars?" the man asked. Kofi nodded quickly, eyes wide. "I thought so," the man continued, stepping out of the SUV and crouching beside him. This man was Mr. Tund, a 45-year-old with deep caramel skin, neat salt and pepper hair cropped close to his scalp, and a clean-shaven face. He wore polished brown shoes and a white button-up shirt with sleeves rolled up. His watch shimmered slightly in the sunlight. There was something warm in his eyes, something that made Kofi feel safe. "I see you looking at that billboard every day," Mr. Tund said, nodding toward the giant image of the racing car. "Do you dream of driving one of those?" Kofi looked down, embarrassed. "Yes, but I can't." "Why not?" "I'm just a boy," Kofi muttered, "and I don't go to school. My mama is gone. My papa drinks. I clean glass so my sister can eat." There was silence for a moment. The honks, the chatter, the market sounds, they all felt distant now. Mr. Tund studied Kofi closely. "What's your name?" "Kofi." "How old are you?" 10. Mr. Tund nodded thoughtfully. "Well, Kofi, maybe you're cleaning glass today, but one day, you could be driving faster than anyone else on the continent." Kofi smiled nervously, unsure if it was a joke. "I'm serious," Mr. Tund said. "But first, I want you to come with me. Just for a few hours. No tricks. I want to show you something." Kofi hesitated. He'd been warned never to trust strangers. But something inside him whispered that this was different. He looked at the SUV, then back at the men. "I have to be back before sunset," he said softly. "My sister waits for me." Mr. Tund smiled. Then we'll be quick. With a deep breath, Kofi climbed into the passenger seat. The air conditioning hit him like a wave of fresh mountain air. It was the first time in his life he had ever been inside a car like this. Leather seats, a soft smell of cologne, the hum of quiet luxury. He looked around, mouth slightly open. As they pulled away from the intersection, Kofi looked back at the red light, the spot where he had stood every day for the past 2 years. He didn't know where they were going, or why. But something told him this moment was the beginning of something far bigger than he could imagine. The SUV weaved through the city streets until they reached a quiet, fenced compound. A tall gate opened electronically, revealing a private track, a smooth, wide circle of asphalt surrounded by tires and flags. Kofi's eyes widened. "This is where dreams start," Mr. Tun said. "I own this place. And I help kids like you find their speed." He turned to Kofi and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "I was just like you once. Selling oranges on the roadside. Someone gave me a chance. Now, I give others a chance too." Tears welled up in Kofi's eyes, but he blinked them away. No one had ever believed in him before. Until now. The warm afternoon sun bathed the track in golden light as Kofi stepped out of the SUV. He walked slowly, almost afraid to breathe too loudly, like the moment might vanish if he moved too quickly. The asphalt beneath his feet was smooth, nothing like the dusty red soil he was used to. He took a few cautious steps forward, eyes locked on the small go-kart parked under a shaded shelter. It was bright red with sleek lines, black tires, and the number 7 printed in bold white on the side. Mr. Tund walked beside him, his footsteps confident and calm. "Have you ever driven anything before?" he asked. Kofi shook his head. "Just dreams." Mr. Tund smiled. "Dreams are a good start." They approached a young man standing by the go-kart. He was Kojo, the track assistant, 22 years old, tall, slim, with deep brown skin, braided hair tied into a bun, and wearing a navy blue racing jumpsuit with a whistle around his neck. "This is Kojo," Mr. Tun said. "He's going to teach you the basics." Kojo gave a quick nod and smiled. "Ready to fly, champ?" Kofi hesitated. His eyes darted from Kojo to Mr. Tund, searching for reassurance. "You don't have to be perfect," Mr. Tund said gently. "Just brave." Kofi nodded slowly. Kojo showed him the basics, how to grip the wheel, where the pedals were, how to turn. Kofi sat in the go-kart, his tiny hands gripping the wheel, his feet barely reaching the pedals. Kojo adjusted the seat and added a cushion behind his back. Kofi looked like a miniature racer. The engine roared to life. He jumped. "It's okay." Kojo laughed. "That's just the heart of the beast." The sound of the engine filled Kofi's chest. It was powerful, alive. He closed his eyes for a second, imagining the billboard. The Formula One car. The crowd. The speed. "Let's go slow," Kojo said, jogging beside the cart as Kofi pressed the pedal. The cart crept forward. Kofi laughed. For the first time in a long time, he felt free. The world wasn't behind a windshield anymore, it was in front of him. He made a shaky turn, almost spun out, and Kojo steadied him. "You're doing great." Each lap he made, his confidence grew. His smile widened. His posture straightened. He wasn't the boy with dirty shorts and glass in his hands, he was Kofi, the racer. Mr. Tund watched from the sidelines, arms crossed, a soft pride blooming in his chest. He saw himself in the boy, raw, unshaped, but brilliant. After 10 laps, Kofi pulled in, breathing heavily, face flushed from joy and effort. "How was it?" Kojo asked. Kofi beamed. "I want to go again." Mr. Tund chuckled. "You will. Many times." He handed Kofi a bottle of water and crouched beside him. "You have something special, Kofi. Not just talent. But heart." Kofi looked down, shyly. "Thank you, sir." Mr. Tund stood up and looked to the sky. "This is just the beginning." And Kofi believed him. For the first time in his life, he truly believed. Every Saturday morning, while most children were still curled under blankets, Kofi stood at the track gate before sunrise, waiting. No excuses. No delays. Mr. Tund kept his promise. He paid for the training, brought Kofi gear, and made sure he was guided by the best. But it wasn't just about the driving, it was about the discipline. The focus. The hunger. Kojo became Kofi's older brother, pushing him when he got lazy, cheering when he improved, correcting him without breaking his spirit. Kofi grew stronger, both inside and out. His arms, once thin and frail, had gained strength. His confidence, once quiet and cautious, began to bloom like a flame. His lap times dropped. His turns became sharper. The instructor started watching him with more than curiosity, with admiration. Word spread. One afternoon, as Kofi packed up after a long day of practice, a man approached from the parking lot. He was 38-year-old man, light brown skin, bald, clean-shaven, wearing a gray suit with sneakers, Mr. Mensah, a scout from the National Junior Karting Federation. He had heard of the boy from the streets. He had to see for himself. Mr. Mensah leaned over to Kojo and whispered, "Let him run. I want to time him." Kojo nodded, turned to Kofi and said, "Show us what you've got." Kofi didn't hesitate. He jumped into the cart like it was home. The engine screamed to life. The tires screeched. Kofi moved like poetry, cutting corners with precision, accelerating with fearless instinct. There was no overthinking. Just rhythm. Just flow. Mr. Mensah was stunned. When the cart stopped and the dust settled, the stopwatch showed a time that beat the national average, for his age group, by 2 full seconds. He walked straight to Mr. Tund, shook his hand and said, "He's gifted. I want him in the junior championship next month. All expenses covered." Mr. Tund was speechless. Kojo nearly jumped from joy. And Kofi? He just smiled quietly, the same smile he had the day he first touched the wheel. That night, Kofi couldn't sleep. He lay on the thin mattress in the one-room house he shared with his mother, staring at the tin roof. She was still struggling. Still working 2 jobs. But tonight, for the first time, her son had a shot. He rolled over and whispered to himself, "I'm going to make you proud, Mama." And for the first time, he didn't feel like a boy washing windshields at red lights. He felt like a racer. A rising star. A flame that would not go out. The day had come. The National Junior Karting Championship Finals. The stands buzzed with energy. Families, sponsors, cameras, everyone gathered under the blazing sun to witness the next generation of racers. And among them, stood a boy most had never heard of. Kofi, once a child wiping windshields at intersections, now stood on the grid beside polished, prepped young athletes from elite racing schools. Some stared. Some whispered, "Who's this boy? Where's his team?" But Kofi didn't flinch. He looked into the crowd and found 42-year-old woman, dark brown skin, slim, short braided hair, wearing a simple blue pattern dress, Mama Abina, his mother. She stood barefoot in the corner of the bleachers, hands clasped, heart racing. Tears already filled her eyes. She had sacrificed everything. And now, her son was here. The engine roared to life. Kojo stood behind the fence, yelling, "You know who you are, Kofi. Let them see it." The lights above the track turned red, then blinked out. "Go." Kofi launched forward like a bullet. He weaved between racers twice his size, danced through corners like he'd been born on the track. While others hesitated in tight turns, Kofi trusted the cart, trusted himself. Lap after lap, he climbed positions. 7th. Then 5th. Then 3rd. Now only 2 remained in front, boys who had been racing since they were 5. But Kofi wasn't just racing against kids. He was racing against his past. Against the look of pity people gave him on the street. Against the hunger, the rain-soaked nights, the mornings when he went to bed with an empty stomach. 2 laps to go. Kojo shouted, "You're not chasing them, they're running from you." The crowd felt the shift. This boy, this underdog, was closing the gap. Then, in the final curve, the leading cart skidded slightly. Kofi saw the window, small, risky, impossible for most. He didn't blink. He took it. The tires screamed. Dust flew. He overtook both in one clean move. The audience exploded. Kojo leaped into the air. Mr. Tund shouted with both fists in the air. Kofi crossed the finish line first. He did it. A boy with nothing, had just become a champion. Tears streamed down Mama Abina's face as she rushed toward the track. Kofi stepped out of his cart, helmet off, hair messy, smile wide. She wrapped her arms around him and sobbed, "You did it, my son, you did it." That moment was captured by every camera. Within hours, social media lit up. From cleaning windshields to the podium. A child with no sponsors, no team, just heart. A miracle in motion. News outlets across Africa, then Europe, then America picked up the story. And within weeks, emails flooded in, sponsorship offers, international karting invitations, even Formula One development programs. But Kofi never forgot where it all began. At red lights. With hope in his heart. And a dream in his hands. Sometimes, all it takes is one moment. One question. One person, who believes in you. Kofi's story isn't just about racing. It's about hope, resilience, and the power of a single act of kindness to change a life forever. If this story touched your heart, share it. Because somewhere out there, another child is waiting for their moment. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this story if you believe every child deserves a chance. Subscribe for more inspiring stories, because the world needs to hear them. Thank you.